1, 2, 3. Good morning,
Good morning, teacher.
Good morning, students.
Come on, guys.
Welcome back to another beautiful day for mathematics. But let's allow teacher Om to do a warm-up with us before we start.
Okay, guys. To show your hands like it. Idea Kanya Park, Kik Koi, come home. Jonai Boom Hupo. Okay. The left hand we're gonna close. Idea. Okay. I don't see your hand. Okay, thank you. And the right hand, open it. And then gonna switch like this. I'm gonna count 1 to 10. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, thank you guys. Good job.
Good, thank you everyone. So it's a beautiful day today, and it's also Friday, which makes it even more beautiful. Plus, we also have some of the first rain in 2022 here in Pechabun. So this morning when I arrived to school, we had beautiful rain, and that is always a wonderful thing to experience, is the smell of fresh rain as it hits the surface of the earth. So we are totally blessed today to be here, and I hope you guys have brought your brains and are turning them on as we speak, because we are going to use them. So currently we are still busy with circles, but I want to finish circles today so we can move on to a new chapter. So first thing we did was we looked at the perimeter of a circle, and we also looked at what the circle is made up of. So the perimeter of a circle, like we said, is 2 pi r, which is 2 times pi times radius. Okay, and the radius is half of the diameter. Just important to go through so that we are sure that we understand where all these words and numbers are coming from and how they work together. And then the second one we looked at was the area of a circle. Now the area of a circle is also a very simple formula. It's pi radius squared. So in essence, it's pi times the radius times the radius. So when we do the area of a circle, we will see that the calculations become quite big while we are performing them, and we have to calculate a lot. And then last time we looked at some word problems, and we were busy with some type of skill advancement activities. So I want us to carry on by doing these skill advancement activities and practicing, because today we'll see how far we get with these couple of pages, and then we have our unit test, which is units 1, 2, 3. So that's the first 3 units of the new book. Is a big test, but I don't want us to do all the work. I only want us to do a few pages, but I will get to that in a little bit. Okay, so for us to start, let's start from number 1. We looked at that last time as well, but it's just to refresh our minds and to put us into the learning mood. So for number 1, let's see how can we calculate this. The perimeter of a circle is, what is the formula for the perimeter of a circle?
2 pi r.
2 pi r. Now I'm not going to do all the calculations again today because it is quite time consuming and the calculations get quite big and involved with a lot of different things we have to do. So the first one, the perimeter is 2 pi r. 2 times pi times the radius. Pi, like we said, is either 22/7 or 3.14 if you want to work with the decimal. And then we calculated an amount in meters. I'm not sure what that amount was. And then the area is, what is the formula for the area of a circle?
Pi r square.
Pi r squared. Excellent. Thank you very much. Pi r squared. So this is the formulas we need to remember and the ones we are going to use. The next one, we have to do the exact same, but because we work only with a semicircle, not a full one, we have to divide all our answers by 2. So the first one, we might have 2 pi r for the perimeter, but at the end, we have to divide by 2 in order to get the perimeter of a semicircle. The same we're going to do for the area. So the way you can write that is pi radius squared divided by 2. So as we carry on in mathematics in our schooling career, we will see that formulas become an integral part or a big part of mathematics, because mathematics in the earlier age groups is just basic operations, plus, minus, times, division. It's all just basic operations. And the older we get, the more we move into math theory and applying the theory of mathematicians across generations to calculate certain things. So currently we're still working with shapes and circles, which is nice because we have very simple calculations that we can do. But it's important for us to understand them, because if we do not, we will struggle with the concepts in the future, because this is the basics of what the future of mathematics looks like. So let's look at the second one here, number 3 at the bottom. Let's have a read there. The area of a square is 196 square centimeters. The area of the circle inscribed in the square is about, If you read this question, how do you think we have to calculate the answer? What would your steps be of solving this mathematical problem? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me? Where would we start? What is our end goal? Or let me first ask you, what is the question asking us to calculate? Anyone? Nice and early on a Monday morning. Let's see. What do you guys think? Well, the question is asking us what is the area of the circle that is inside the square. So how do we calculate that? We have to calculate the area of the circle. We have to calculate the area of the circle. But what do we have? We only have the area of the square. Now the area of the square, we know we calculate as a square. But now we have a number which is 196. And I really don't understand. One thing I'm not very happy with is the way they ask the questions, because we are not allowed to use a calculator to calculate any of these following questions that I'm wanting to talk to you about. So this question, you will not find a question like this in the final test. If they give us the area in square centimeters as 196, we first have to find the square root of 196. Now, how do we do that? It's a very complex calculation, but I'll show you quickly a very essence. 1 square to, let me write it down, it's faster if I use text. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if we look at the square roots of each of them, that's 1. That's 4. That's 9. So the square of each of these is the number times by itself. So 15 square is 25. 6 square is 36. 7 square is 49. 8 square is 56. 9 square equals 81. 56 correct. No, I think it's 64. Okay. So where we calculate the square root of areas is we look at the last number and we find the numbers that are ending with that number. So for here we have a 4 and a 6 as the possible numbers. Then we look at the number to the left here. This one, the square root is closest to 4. So we write 4 and it is more than 16. So we take the 6. So the square root should be 46. The way of calculating. It is a very complex calculation. So I will not ask you guys to calculate it in this manner. So I'm going to skip that question for now. Because the way they expect you guys to calculate the square root without having any other information, for me it's not correct. Because we usually use a calculator for square roots because they are complex numbers. Okay. Let's look at number 4 at the bottom. The ring-shaped flower bed has an outer radius of 2.8 meters and an inner radius of 1.4 meters. The area of the flower bed is, so we have to calculate the area. How will we do that? Who can tell me, how will we calculate the area of the flower bed? Come. Early morning, Friday, let's use our big brains and figure it out. So again, while we're doing word problems, most important is to highlight the most relevant information. So we know here that it is a ring-shaped flower bed. Has an outer radius of 2.8. So the radius to the point from here to here is 2.8 meters. And the inner is 1.4. What is the area of the flower bed? So what we need to calculate over here is they want to know the area of the flower bed. By which area we can we can calculate 2 areas. Which area do you think they want? Do they want the area of the white part or the area of the blue part? Who can tell me?
Blue.
Of the blue. Okay. If they want the area of the blue part, how do you think we will calculate it? How do you think we will calculate it? Firstly, we have to calculate 2 areas. You have to calculate the 2 areas. You are going to calculate pi radius square for 2. The first one is 3.14 multiplied by 1.4 square. And number 2 is the area of the bigger one. It's going to be 2.8 squared. So once we have the two areas, we can then calculate the total area of the flower bed. Okay. Like I said, I'm not going to do all the calculations. It takes quite a long time. It's just to make sure that the way we think and listen to the questions should be accurate and real. Okay. So once again, two questions over here. Let's have a look. I want you guys to give some feedback because I don't know if you understand or not. If you don't understand, please talk to me so we can find a way to explain it a little differently. Okay. So over here, again, grab your marker. Make sure we highlight the most relevant information. Solve each problem, show your work. Very basic way of writing a question. So here, the top of the dressing table is a semicircle in shape. So the table here is a semicircle. Its diameter is 70 centimeters. What is the area of the tabletop? So over here, very straightforward again, we want to calculate area. Area we know as pi radius squared. But we also have to consider that it's a semicircle. So we have to divide by 2 at the end because of the semicircle. So 70 centimeters is the diameter. What is the length of the radius?
35.
35 for the radius. So here we can say pi equals 3.14 multiplied by 35 squared. And at the end, divide by 2. So let's quickly calculate this one and see what the answer over here is. You can tell me what is the answer to that one. So it's somewhere in the region of about, I think, 1,925. Plus minus. It's plus minus in this region. Could be a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on if you use 22/7 or 3.14. It will change a little bit. So it will be 1,925 square centimeters as our answer. Okay. Do you guys understand how circles work? It's important for me to ask this question because circles and polygons and quadrilaterals and triangles are all part of trigonometry that you will be exposed to in the next couple of years. And trigonometry is something that is used throughout our mathematics career and throughout our school. So if you do not understand it now, please, you have to start asking questions. Because once you get to Matyom level, it's too late to ask questions. The people will just carry on with new work. If you don't understand, you will be lost forever. So it's important to ask questions. But also, it's up to you. If you guys want to do well, I'm sure you will ask questions. But if you don't not bother too much, I can also understand why you don't ask. So number 2 at the bottom here, I want you guys to read this question to me to get you guys speaking a little bit. So the question over here, I want all of us to read it together. And then I want someone to use the marker and try and do it on the board. Because otherwise I have no idea if you understand or not. Because I get very little feedback. So please, you guys can start reading from the scout camp. Okay, so all of us together, please start reading now.
The scout camp plans to create a campfire, circle and grow trees around the circle. If each tree is 5.5 meters away from the nearest tree, and the campfire circle has a diameter of 42 meters. How many trees are needed?
Excellent, thank you very much. Very good. So how will we start this question? Let me highlight the information. I need someone to draw on the board to try and do the question. It can be more than one person that can draw on the board. But let's first see. We want to create a campfire circle and grow trees around the circle. Each tree is 5.5 meters away from the nearest tree. So if we have the circle, we have a tree here and a tree here. The distance between the two is 5.5 meters. Remember that. And the campfire circle has a diameter of 42 meters. How many trees are needed? Okay. So what do we need to do? Do we need to calculate the area or the perimeter of the circle?
Perimeter.
The perimeter. So can someone try and do that for me at the bottom there? Okay, or must I call someone to do it? No, no one to call anyone out. I want us to work together here. Can anyone do the work at the bottom over here? I want to see if you guys know how to do it. Is it able for you to draw? You guys should be able to draw on the board. I'll give you 1 minute to start drawing on the board. Otherwise, I will then do it myself. The reason I want you to practice is because we have the test coming up and I want us to do well. Let's see if anyone wants to try and do it. Okay. Seems like no one wants to try. So let's see. The perimeter. What's the formula for the perimeter of a circle? Hello? What is the formula for a perimeter of a circle?
Two pi
2 pi r. Excellent. 2 pi r. Now we first have to calculate the perimeter. To do that, we say 2 multiplied by 3.14 multiplied by 21. And that will give us an amount of 132 meters. Remember, perimeter is only meters. Area is square meters. So perimeter only meters. So if you calculate that, 2 times 3.4 equals 7.28. 7.28 times 21 rounded up equals 132 meters. If you don't believe me, try and do it and see what the answer is. So now we have the 132 meters perimeter, but that's not what the question is asking. That's only one of the parts needed. The question is asking how many trees are needed. So how far is each tree planted from the other one? What is the distance between them?
5 meters.
So 5.5 meters. So how will we calculate how far or how many trees are there? You can tell me.
132 divided 5.5.
Excellent. So we're going to take 132 and divide that by 5.5. And if we do that division, what do you think our answer would be?
24.
24. Excellent. How did you calculate that? Well, the easiest way for me, if I look at these questions, how to calculate dividing by decimals is try and make it a whole number. So first multiply the 5.5 with 2, gives you 11. And then multiply the 132 by 2, which will give you 264. And then it's easier to divide to get the answer of 24. Okay. Please remember to show your workings while you are calculating these mathematical problems. So a self-evaluation. Just going to spend a few minutes, just do a few of these. I'm not going to give you all the answers. We are getting to an age now where the answers we also have to find out for ourselves. The answers don't just come freely. We need to also understand that we have to put in effort to get them. So I'm not going to give you the answers for these ones. I'm going to go through with you and explain what certain questions mean and how do we start to calculate them so we can form an understanding of all types of questions. So number one, which of the following circles has an area of 186.34 square centimeters? A circle with a diameter of 14 centimeters, a circle with a radius of 7, a circle with a perimeter of 48.4 centimeters, a circle with a radius that is twice as long as circle C's. So for this one, the basic thing we got to do is calculate the area of a circle. So we can calculate each one of these and see which one gives us the correct answer and adds up to 186.34. Okay. So that's by trial and error. We can do that. Calculate A, see what your answer is. Calculate B, calculate C, calculate D. And find the one which is the correct answer. Number two, the area of the circle with a diameter of 1.4 centimeters is inscribed in the square. Which of the following statements is correct? A, the area of the circle is 1.5 square centimeters. B, the area of the square is 1.96 centimeters. The area of C, the area of the circle is 0.42 square centimeters, smaller than the square. All the above answers are correct. So firstly, we can say that the length of each side equals 1.4 centimeters. This one and this one. So it's a square. Each side is 1.4 centimeters. So if you multiply 1.4 with 1.4, we get 1.96. So we know the area of the square is that. But now we want to calculate the area of the circle, which will be 3.14 multiply 0.7 multiply 0.7, because we have to use the radius. Remember, the diameter, we need the radius. And then we will also get an area of 1.54. Now, if you minus the two from each other, we get 0.42. So this answer will then give us all of the above statements are correct. So that's important for us to know, okay? To calculate all three of them to find out which one is correct. Multiple choice, very important to pay attention. The last one over here. A circular wooden disc has a radius of 4.9 meters. Oliver wants to paint the top part of the disc. What is the painted area? It's very simple. We have the radius. We calculate the area. So it's 4.9 multiply 4.9 multiply 3.14 to get the area. Okay. Very straightforward, very simple. Let me do one more. I'll do number 5 with you. Number 5. So it says use the information to answer question 4 and 5. The outer circle has a perimeter of 88 centimeters. The inner circle 44 centimeters. What is the area of the colored part? So we have to calculate the area of the colored part. Well, we have the perimeter, and when we have the perimeter, we can calculate the radius. And if we have the radius, we can calculate the area. So first, this one, first calculate the radius, then calculate the area. Okay. Going a little bit fast through these ones. We've done enough circles now, and we've done them quite often. And no one has asked a question yet, so I assume you guys understand fully. Okay. Then to close off the lesson, for review test 1 on page 81, this test is very, very important. We need you guys to send the work back. There is a lot of you that do not do anything. So please send the work back that we give you to do for homework. We need that. If you don't send us any work back, then next year you will be back in Patom 6, sitting in this school. While all your friends go to Matyom level, you will stay here because you don't do any work. How can you pass if you don't do the work? So please do the work and send it to us. We are getting to an age now where we are in our teenage years. We need to take a little bit more responsibility for our own actions. So, review test 1, part 1. A few pages, 1 and 2. And then I want us to do the first part of part 2. And that's it. So there's 3 pages, page 81, 82, 83. It's not a lot of work if you spend some time. You don't have to send it to us today. But please, next week we require it. So take some time and do them. If you have some free time or you're a bit bored, just do 2 or 3 questions. Like let's reach 1, 2, 3 questions. 4, 5, it's 8 questions, 10 questions. It's 14 questions. It's not a lot of questions. And a lot of these you already know because it is also a good thing to get our minds thinking about what we have done the whole semester. Okay. So please, page 81, 82, 83. Just all I'm asking is just those few ones. Okay. But that's bringing us to the end of our video and to our class. If any of you want to play a quick game of rock, paper, scissors, now is the time. So please make sure your camera is turned on. I'll give you about a few seconds for those who want to play with us. If you cannot turn on your camera, please send your answer in the chat. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, 3. Shoot. Oh. Okay, so today, unfortunately, oh, no one beat the teacher. Unlucky you guys. But don't worry. Next week, Monday, you will have a new opportunity. But thank you guys very much for joining my class and for being here and participating. No, it's not always easy to be here on time every time. But thank you guys, and I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Take care, take some rest, and I'll see you guys again on Monday. Bye-bye.
Thank you guys. Bye bye.
Bye, teacher. Bye.